Hello, coaches. In today's episode, our panel of experts will share their responses to the question, how do you work with coaches at your school? Hearing the many different ways that classroom teachers, librarians, counselors, and school leaders work with their coaching colleagues highlights the wide-reaching impact that coaches can have. This episode also provides lots of great insight into how coaches work with these stakeholder groups at a variety of different schools around the world. My name is Kim Cafino, and I'll be your host throughout this series. I've been an instructional coach in schools around the world for 20 years. I am passionate about the impact that instructional coaches can have on school culture, student learning, and teacher professional development, and I am so excited to share these conversations with you. We created this series to give you a window into our Eduro Learning the Coach Microcredential mentorship program. If you're ready to level up your coaching, our next cohort starts in April 2019 and registration is open now. Stay tuned after the video for more details and a free download to preview what you'll learn in this personalized coaching credential program. If you like any part of this series, give this video a like and subscribe to our channel to get all 8 videos in the series. Turn on notifications to be the first to see the next episode. Let's get started. How do you work with the coaches at your school? How do you partner with them? How do you team with them? What does that look like in your role?
That's one, is setting up kind of plan meetings for trying to figure out how can we help coaches develop kind of coaching strategies that work for our environment. What works at YS may not work at every other school. And so it could be helping new teachers get used to the culture and giving them permission to push the culture. Some of it is with the strategic plan, and it's really like cheesy, like leader talk to talk strategic plan, but like we have a strategic plan that's built by the community, and like working with those people who are in teacher leader, coach leader models, influencing that is really important, because I don't know what the current research says on collaboration models. Like that's the coach's job to really know that. And so for them to be a resource as we develop our vision for where the school goes next is really important. I think it's, likewise, I think cheerleading is a big part of my job of like just saying, thank you. That was, that person really needed you in there. I saw your influence in there. Knowing when those things are happening is important. It's not too dissimilar from what the coaches do, just on a different level, in a different room.
It's probably a bit the opposite. I think in a lot of ways it feels like, as a school leader, we should be directing the coaches. And what really happens is the opposite. The coaches know what is going on in the classrooms and with students so much better than we do. We tend to get a filtered version of things, and so that boots on the ground type of experience that coaches have is actually illuminating for us about what our school really does look like. Like I think a lot of times school leaders kind of fool themselves into thinking they know the school, and they don't know it as well as they'd like to believe that they do, right? And so in a lot of ways, that means that we are subordinate to the coaches, and the coach's job is to oftentimes identify how we support them. I need help here to help us achieve these goals, right? Like I'm seeing this kind of pedagogy, or I'm seeing this kind of instructional practice. These are the priorities. This is what it has to do. And I'm like, I'm so glad I've got a great coach, because they're helping me figure out what my strategy should be and what my priorities are as I think on the strategic level for the goals of the division.
There's a system of professional learning so this is how I would probably work with my coach. We've got professional learning, and so each year we set ourselves goals, if you like, of how we want, or what we want to achieve and how we want to achieve it. And they can be quite fundamental ways of thinking. So not necessarily getting tools to do your job, but maybe trying to shift thinking, shift culture. And so one of my goals last year was to think about access in our profession. And so definitely thinking beyond my school and thinking more about philosophies in my profession. And so I would work with a coach to have discussions about, well, how can I make that happen? How can I move that from thinking to practice, or how can I shift my thinking to enable that to happen? Why do I want that to happen? Why do I think that's important, and how does it align with my own values, my school's culture? So yeah, you really do get to explore that. So professional learning, I guess, is the key thing for me here, where I have regular chats with my coach about that kind of goal. And then, of course, as we know with coaching, these things shift and change and morph, and then you can reflect on them at the end of the year. And of course, things aren't contained within a year either. So the fact that I've got a long-term relationship with my coach means that we can keep coming back to that, even if my professional learning goals do shift and change. So that's one way that I use coaching, and it's really, it's really enabled me to grow, I think, personally and professionally. So very, very satisfying. The other way that I use coaching is, you mentioned the digital literacy coach. So we've got a fantastic digital literacy coach that we work with here, Tricia Friedman, and she has absolutely moved me in terms of personally and professionally. So I guess professionally, the digital literacy piece. Making me digitally literate, and that is very empowering in itself. So someone that I can go to with the kernel of an idea, and she can help me explore that and move it forward, make it a reality. And so in terms of our community, then making me better professionally, I can maybe communicate something more effectively, can explore ideas more creatively with the people that I'm working with because of those conversations. So very concrete kind of professional ways that I can move on. But then personally too, I think, a bit like I was saying, I try to do with my own young people and families that I work with, where I'm trying to make them feel that sense of self-efficacy, like we were saying, and advocacy. And so by allowing me or helping me see what I can do and how I can grow professionally, that does link in personally. So personally, I feel like, oh my goodness, look at me. I'm learning something, even though I've been doing this job for a very long time. And this has completely shifted the way that I think about this approach. So this week, actually, I was talking to some grade 10 families, parents, about this whole process. And grade 10's really young. They're 16 years old. It feels like a long time ahead. And so through talking to Tricia about digital literacy, we were talking about metaphors. And so this whole thing ended up as a really nice workshop where parents were looking at how they see themselves metaphorically in this process. And after this talk about self-advocacy, how they felt they really needed to be rather than what they wanted to be. So not strictly speaking digital literacy, but through a coaching conversation with Tricia, which was ad hoc because of our culture here. It really was Tricia just coming to tell me a little bit about her holiday, I think, and then it turned into a bit of coaching, and some really interesting things came out of that professionally. So personally, professionally, really quite profound, I think, our coaching culture.
Yeah, so I think that happens on a number of different levels. I think, on a personal level. So for instance, just as an anecdote, but I was looking for some case management software. And there are a number of sort of counseling specific or social work specific case management applications out there, but typically they're like either well beyond, or they're intended to plug into systems that exist in the United States or wherever the country of origin is for that particular application, that I just don't need. What I really need is like a project management tool. So when I went to our coach here and I said, hey, look, I need this project management tool, and sort of, because I knew that they were working with like Basecamp, and they're familiar with a number of different applications that can be used that might be useful for me. And so rather than learn about all those things myself, it's like, why don't I just go to our coach and say, here's my need. Do you know of anything? And he then did sort of like a rough needs assessment, in some ways similar to what I might do in counseling, but it's like gets all down my needs, what I'm hoping for, what are some of the sort of the essentials, the things that I absolutely have to have, the non-negotiables, what are the things I would like to see, but it's maybe not that important. What are some of my pie in the sky sort of dream ideas that if it had this, wouldn't that be great? And then he comes back with a couple of recommendations. And so I end up using like an app called Monday, and it works great. It's like does exactly what I need it to do. And I'm really pleased with that. So like on an individual level, I go to the coach with my personal needs that might be connected to technology that will help me do my job more effectively. And what's nice is the coach gives me a similar reaction to that I hope I give to people with counseling, which is like, yeah, tell me what's going on. And then we have this conversation, and it's like the open door. It's not like I'm thinking about Matt Broughton at the moment, but it's not like this person is too busy to help me with my counseling needs. It's more like, yeah, great. Thanks for coming to me. I'll do what I can to help. And I think that is on one level how I work with the coaches. The other side is like the kind of work that we started all together, which is like when we're trying to help support our community in whatever area, there is inevitably a tech component to the aspect of our community that we're talking about. And so working with the coaches, whether it's with the parenting workshops that we got started, those continue on to the present day, whether it's with some of the social emotional issues that students are encountering, the coach is invaluable in terms of like looking at the platforms that some of this is happening on, or where are the areas that we can help educate students about. And maybe the coach is a part of those education sessions, or maybe they're not, but it informs my work with kids and with parents. And I hope that the opposite is true too, is like my background with the social emotional stuff then helps inform the work that the coach is also doing. And it's great when we can collaborate. So at least there's a couple of different levels to it. There may be more, but that's kind of what I was thinking when you asked that question.
Well, I'll talk about my current school at the moment because so I'm just new to a new school here in Thailand, and I have a coach that I work with quite closely, and it was set up quite well actually. So we have a standing kind of meeting once a month. So every now and then, if I'm thinking about something, I might jot something down for that particular meeting. But I feel actually more effective is that I run into him all the time with casual drop-in stuff. He is also working in the year level that I work in. So we see each other all the time. We generated a bit of a positive working relationship. I can casually drop in with him with questions, but also I have that time set aside that's just for me and no interruptions. And, if I have serious stuff that I want to discuss and it's going to take a while, I've got that as a backup time once a month.
I actually work with two coaches currently. So one is our digital literacy coach, and I'm a tech mentor. So we're working on various tech projects that are not indefinite, but kind of work throughout the year. So I meet with her probably once every 2 weeks and kind of have a project that we're working on. She kind of checks in and gives me tips on that and coaches me through that process. And then we also have a literacy coach in the middle school who works with all the English teachers. She's actually branching out to work with humanities and science as well. We are a reading and writing workshop from TC. So it really started from kind of understanding that pedagogy. But now that we've been working with her for a couple of years, and we've all kind of just kind of absorbed how that works, now we're just working on individual craft practices. So with her, currently I'm working on creating kind of online blended learning videos that help students who are maybe on the lower end or the higher end of my teaching, so they can independently go to those resources. And so she's helping me do that. Last year we worked on conferencing, how to make my conferences more effective. But again, she kind of comes in and says, what is it that you want to work on? What's the craft move that you're interested in? And helps me brainstorm. And then we design a plan and how often we meet. And then she kind of coaches me through that. And she does that with all of our English teachers throughout the year.
So we have I'd say we have a couple coach people who moonlight as coaches, right? Nick Garvin, who is a member of COACHBETTER, is a kindergarten teacher who moonlights as the technology coach of our school. There is another teacher named Jessica Lee, who's a grade 1 teacher who moonlights as the literacy coach. So they're doing that on, basically on their prep periods and outside hours. They're fulfilling that role. Our school is at a size where we're very close to being able to hire for those types of positions, but we're all kind of carrying extra loads, being that there's 460 kids at the moment. We totally do stuff together. Right at the beginning of the school year, the primary principal wanted the literacy coach to kind of push the importance of picture books to upper primary, especially primary, because lower primary they use a lot of picture books, so they tend to. Upper primary, things get more serious. It's almost middle school exhibition if you're in grade 5 in the PYP school and so forth. So we did it in the library, and we did it together. Although, basically, I supported her. She put it all together. I collected books that supported what she was looking for, and I set up all the tech and the learning space, so forth. So that was an example of us collaborating together. And then I'm building a maker space inside the library. Like a quiet maker space, basically anything that doesn't, the only thing that would get plugged in would be a glue gun type of maker space, right? Because it's inside a library and there are no walls and ways to really dampen the sound much. But Nick does what we call a CCA, an ASA, what most people call, is doing one on computational thinking and design thinking and innovation for primary age. And so we're doing that together in the library after school. And we're all kind of learning as we go for some things that we haven't really used, like Osmos, and some of them use like Spheros and Makey and all those type of fun tools, giving the kids kind of first exposure to them and to the thinking and learning that goes on behind them. So we'll all be doing that together, even down to the budget to pay for all these fun toys was split between the library and the person who runs the activities, kind of thing. So it was very much done in collaboration.
I think it's different based on each person I'm working with. So much of coaching is about personality and the way that you match with a person and how you get along. Clint and I used to do a lot of work together, and it was really nice. We had a really casual, really jokey relationship, and I could pop in anytime. And like our outside of school friendship really helped to build that. Whereas Matt Broughton and I also have an amazing collaboration relationship, but ours is a purely professional one that happens with inside school. So what I like about it is that also as a librarian, getting to know how you have to interact with that person and the things that they're going to need and what they're going to respond to really well is so important. So for example, with Matt, I can come in with it doesn't always have to be clear, but I can come in with a very clear task or idea and say, look, this is the thing I'd like to try. And he's very, okay, check, boom, boom, boom. Here's how we're going to go. We both take our things that we're going to do, and then we'll go off and maybe work on them separately and bring it back together. Whereas with other people, maybe when I'm working in a coaching relationship with a teacher, some teachers like to meet once and then take some time away to think about it and then come back and meet again, and then we plan something together, and then we take a little bit more time to think about it and come back again. So I think it's about finding the rhythm that really works with each person that you're working with. I'm really looking forward to an opportunity to build a coaching relationship with Kendra Engel, who's our new EAL teacher for the secondary here. And she is just really excited and really into reading and building a reading community. And she also has all this skill and background knowledge related to EAL that's not my strength. And so I'm hoping that she and I can have more of a regular, consistent meeting over the course of the year where I try to infuse, I don't want to say everything I do, because if she watches this might feel really overwhelming, but where I get to infuse everything that I do with her EAL knowledge to try and reach some of these kids that maybe I haven't been doing as strong of a job as I would like to.
Thank you so much for watching our Eduro Learning Level Up Your Coaching series. If you like any part of this series, please give this video a like. It really does help out our channel. If you want more videos like this, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to be the first to see the next episode. We want to hear from you. Do you have questions about instructional coaching? Would you like to see a specific educator featured in an upcoming interview? Do you have a great coaching story to share with us? Leave us a comment down below and let us know. If you are ready to level up your coaching, check out our website where we have over 20 practical, relevant, and engaging online courses designed by coaches for coaches. Our most in-depth program, the Coach Microcredential Mentorship Program, is exactly what you need to level up your coaching. You'll get 26 weeks of curated coaching content in our private online course forums, a private cohort of coaches to learn, share, and reflect with, and you'll even have your own private mentor for an entire academic year. Become a certified Eduro Learning Instructional Coach today. Go to edurolearning.com/coach to find out more. To get a sneak peek at what we offer, download our free 5 strategies for your coaching toolkit in the description box below.